days, one Monday, billions made. Your tax paid for the jets, the ships, the sanctions. Who got the payday? This didn't start with Venezuela's crisis. It started with concrete poured in Texas in 1979. In the 1970s and 1980s, the U.S. built massive oil refineries along the Gulf Coast in Texas and Louisiana. These refineries weren't designed for clean, easy oil. They were engineered specifically for heavy, dirty crude. And Venezuela had exactly that. So the system locked in. Not politically, mechanically. By the 1990s, refineries owned by Valero Energy and Chevron depended on Venezuelan crude to run efficiently. Once those machines were built, switching would cost billions. Here's what matters. Once an economy builds around a machine, politics starts serving the machine. If this way of explaining power makes sense, subscribe. No spin, just how systems work. In 2017, the U.S. sanctioned Venezuela. The oil didn't vanish. It just took detours through third countries, brokers, and longer shipping routes. Here's what that looked like on the ground. When oil started taking detours in 2019, diesel prices in Louisiana jumped 40 cents in 6 months. Nobody connected the dots, but the friction showed up in your wallet. Now here's the shift. Sanctions aren't just policy statements. They're enforced with ships, aircraft, and intelligence networks that run every single day, whether you see a headline or not. By the early 2020s, Venezuela moved closer to China and Russia. From Washington's perspective, that meant rivals were gaining leverage near critical shipping lanes and refinery supply chains. Geography still matters. Infrastructure still matters. By 2017, whoever was in office faced the same choice: accept Venezuelan oil going to rivals, or enforce sanctions that would cost Americans money. Trump chose enforcement, then said the quiet part loud. He wanted American companies positioned to control Venezuela's oil sector later. That's not ideology. That's industrial strategy. Fast forward to this week, Monday, January 6th, 2026. Chevron stock jumped 10.02%. Valero Energy surged 10.67%. Halliburton climbed 7.91%. 3 companies, 1 day, billions in market value. Halliburton, the oilfield services giant, surged after Trump announced that U.S. oil companies would rebuild Venezuela's infrastructure. Analysts are calling it a $100 billion, decade-long rebuilding opportunity. Meanwhile, energy traders at firms like Trafigura had already been moving Venezuelan oil through back channels during the sanctions, selling at steep discounts through Opaque Networks. Regular Americans? They paid $4.50 for gas in 2022 and never saw the connection. Politicians look decisive. Defense contractors stay deployed. Oil companies position for access. Most people don't sit in any of those seats. So when something breaks, the benefits don't flow down. They stay at the top. This didn't come out of nowhere. Old refineries needed specific crude. Politics tried to control the supply. Pressure built for years. Eventually, pressure turns into action. What looks sudden on the news was actually mechanical. Big systems protect themselves. Regular people adjust. That's the real pattern behind Venezuela. Not heroes, not villains, just leverage. This is what infrastructure looks like when it becomes foreign policy. If you want to understand what's actually driving the headlines, not the spin, not the theater, subscribe, because the next one's already being built.